I've literally have developed, a friendship and a relationship with a lot of the customers of just being kind and being considerate and being respectful to them and not trying to be some in the in their like a bull in a china closet, I guess you could say. But
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Small Business Podcast. My name is Kevin Dandino, and once again, as always, for the 30th plus time, I am more than happy to be with you here today. We got a fantastic guest. I'm going to introduce him here in just a second, but a couple things first, guys. This is brought to you by Centennial State Insurance Agency. So if you're looking for any kind of quote, either it's commercial or individual, personal property, all that kind of stuff, reach out to us. We would love the chance to get to know you, introduce ourselves, and see if we can find anything for you and give you a better insurance experience than what you're currently getting. Also, free open call for all small business owners to be on this podcast. So if you're a small business owner and you'd like your business to be featured, highlighted, and get a chance to share your story, this is the opportunity for you to be on a podcast. We would love to have you on. No strings attached. Just reach out to us for more information and we can get that your way. Hey, with that being said, everyone, let's bring up to the stage today our special guest, owner of Restoration Station, Colorado, Ty. How you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know every business owner is just super swamped all the time. So it'd be great to have time to have this conversation with you and hear your story, bud.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's just start with how it all began, man. Take us back to the beginning. What made you want to be a business owner? What made you want to get into this business, and just go from there?
Well, at about 18 years old, I started my own business. I was in the custom cattle company cruise thing that I ran for several years. And then we moved to my wife. She's from Colorado. So we moved up here about 4 years ago. She's from Black Forest. And we moved up here and just kind of started getting after it with the restoration and the mold and flood and fire mitigation business, and
Yeah.
took off from there. So it's we've been blessed. So got
Definitely. Well, how long you guys been open now?
we're going on, I believe it's 4 years now.
Okay.
3 to 4 years, right in there.
So you're kind of in that range where you're not brand new, but you're not totally yet established, right? You're
Right,
kind of
right.
trying to keep pushing through those initial barriers. So interesting perspective there. Obviously people who brand new business owners, they're kind of just get into it for the first time versus the ones who've been around for 20 plus years, very established, very, cognizant of what's going on with your business and stuff. But for you to kind of be in this position right there in the middle where you're still pushing forward, what are some of the things that kind of you're facing and that you're going through as you're keeping this business alive?
Well, a lot of it is, you go to a customer's house and you do a mitigation job or whatever the case may be. The I think the problem a lot of times, and I hate to say it on air, but I am, but
Yeah.
insurance companies are dealing with an insurance company is a nightmare almost. We've been fortunate enough to not have to battle so much with that problem. I guess that sounds contradicting, but there has been a few jobs where it's been a nightmare to get paid out on them. And with a small business and a small company like we are, you just can't float jobs like that where you have to wait 90 days to get paid. And it's like, good Lord, am I going to work for Walmart now, or am I going to continue to push forward? And so you
Yeah.
just got to put your head down and keep moving forward, and know God's got you, and have faith and it'll work.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very fair call out, because it is something a lot of people are dealing with. And just in case I have to go back and edit some of that due to some technical difficulties, I'm sure people know what it's like to have a cell service in the mountains. But what you were talking about, Ty,
Oh,
there is one of the bigger things is trying to deal with the insurance and insurance agencies, companies, and trying to get covered, not just coverage, but then, get paid out for any claims that are needed to be made.
yes, sir.
And this is normally a conversation we kind of save for the end, but you kind of led into it perfectly there. I think it's definitely a thing that a lot of business owners, especially new business owners, probably see that initially or hear that from other business owners, and they want to stay away from insurance, or they just pay the $20, $30, whatever, to go get the piece of paper from the website online to say that they're covered, but they're not really, right?
Right.
So kind of walk me through a little bit, like, with those problems, like how are you overcoming them? What are you doing as a business owner to address this and say, look, I know I need insurance because I want this to not disappear in case of an accident, right? But then balance that out with just the struggle of trying to stay covered properly.
Right. Well, you gotta have other things going. I believe it. You can't just sit still and wait for it to fall in your lap. You got to go out and market. You've got to go out and push it. At the same time, you've got to figure out a way to make money and keep moving forward. And knowing that it'll come. Just be patient.
No.
It'll come. And
Right.
sometimes that patience, I don't got a lot of patience, but sometimes it'll get me fired up, and I'm like, good Lord, I'm gonna have to go put an app in, and like I said, well, I'll go at Walmart or somewhere to keep
Right.
moving forward. But I keep moving forward, and I think you know you've got to always be learning in a sense.
Yeah, no, totally agreed, man. And just I'll do a little plug there for Centennial State Insurance Agency again. We recognize, a lot of things that you're talking about. I mean, we're a small business ourselves. And so the way we approach our clients is through that lens of we know and understand the struggles you're going through and the frustration that can come with insurance. So again, for anybody else out there, you want to give us a chance. Again, this is a place that we know where you're coming from, being a small business ourselves, and want to avoid as many of the pains of insurance as you probably get, just some other places. So, that being said, Ty, I kind of want to dig in a little bit more about what it is you guys do and hear the story of, Restoration Station, Colorado, and all the different services you provide. And you're out there in the mountains today. But what kind of stuff do you guys provide? What services and expertise do you have?
So we've specialized, in the fire, water, mold mitigation, and that's what our business is. A lot of people get confused with restoration station and think I do, like rebuilds and handyman work, so to speak. I'm like, no, unfortunately,
No.
I'm get to go tear up your home, even though I hate it. I truly do, because I hate having to tear up a customer's home. But when you've got a mold, growing behind drywall or wherever the case is, you have to tear it up. It has to be removed. It's not something that you can just leave behind a wall somewhere.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things. And then we had a barn fire not too long ago. A customer lost her animals, and it was horrible, like
Mm,
horrible. And so we had to demo down the barn and, of course, haul it off and had a skid steer of mine, and we leveled it all out and made it look pretty. But it was really hard to do that job because she lost a lot of her animals that are considered family. And so to me,
yeah.
that hit home. Like, I grew up on a ranch and a feed yard my whole life, and so when you lose an animal that, to me, they're family. And
Yeah.
so I felt the customer's pain doing that job. It was, I don't know how to describe it. It was really really sad for one thing, but
Sure.
it was a tough job to do, but it's got to be done, unfortunately, and just put your head down and
Yeah.
go.
Well, it hit home. And
It really did. Yep. Yes,
and
sir.
to be a business owner, I mean, it's not just that you care about this business, and your own livelihood, right? But it's when business owners like say things like, I don't like tearing up your home, I don't enjoy that part, right? Versus maybe some of they're like, hey, that's money, right? I'm getting paid today, like, I know it sucks for you, but but to me, that that like that says a lot about, like, you have the best interest of the client in mind. Like, I don't want to do this. It has to be done, but we're going to take care of your place, right? We're going to put it together, and at least get rid of the problem for you to be able to rebuild out from here. Um, and to hear about, stuff like that barn, you're connected to your clients there. And I think that's maybe something that, uh, small business owners that have been around for a long time maybe get a little disconnected from their clientele, right? But from what you're
Yep.
saying, like,
I
you
agree.
understand who you're working for and the impact that your job has on their lives, but then to try and you're in a position to raise them up and kind of push them, help push them forward from there.
And I think, going off of that, with your customers, and you enter their home, and they might have children or a dog or a cat or whatever it is, and my thinking is always, I go into that home like it's my own. I try to
Hmm.
take care of it the very best I can, and the customer's upset, stressed out. I mean, a lot of the damages are they're pretty significant, and you have to tear up their say their kitchen or something. And it's just like, golly, I hate to
Yeah.
do this, but I have to. I totally feel for you, and I think a lot of with with the business I run, and I might have had one customer throughout the years that's been just a turd, but other
Right.
than that, I've literally have developed a friendship and a relationship with a lot of the customers of just being kind and being considerate and being respectful to them and not trying to be some in the in their like a bull in a china closet, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I've always felt like you treat the customers with respect and kindness, and they're dealing with a lot too at that point. It's just that's the way I look
Yeah.
at it.
Well, and again, it just goes back to this idea that, or the point that again, when these people, these poor people, and I'm sure I'll probably be in the need of, somebody of like your service someday. So trying to keep that in mind here too. They're going, like you said, they're going through so much that they probably don't expect somebody, doing a job like what you're doing to come in there and provide a little bit of care, a little bit of empathy to it as well, right? They're
Right.
probably just focused on how much is this going to cost, and I don't want to deal with this. But to bring that little extra that is not in your job description, it's not part of it needed to be a business owner, right? But
Right.
that's the kind of stuff that sticks with people. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the things is too going with that was you talk about the cost and how much somebody's gonna have to pay for a job where probably I undercut myself way too much a lot of times, but I think of it as like the customers, like, man, there's no way this job is 3 grand. There's no way. I
Right.
tell you what, I'll do it for 850 or something. Let's
Yeah.
let's make it affordable and not try to just milk it so much where it's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah.
Now there's some jobs, that obviously is going to be a little bit more and harder and blah blah blah, but
Right.
think of the customer and think of the consideration of it. Why try to just milk the job for say 3 grand on an it, come on. Let's not
Right.
be crazy. Let's
Right.
do it right. Let's treat the people right. Let's just do it right and do it honest, and that's the way I look at it. And
For
like I
sure.
said, I probably shoot myself in the foot a lot of times, but when you walk out of there and you feel good about yourself and feel good about the job that you did, and money's money, it comes and goes. Integrity to me is what it's about. If you can be a light to somebody in their darkness, then that's what it's about.
Yep. And I think that is a great message to give to any small business owner. I think small business owners are in a very unique position to where they're very much, able to be in tune with their community, their clientele, and go that extra step, right? It's not just about
Right.
selling a product or providing a service. It's connecting with the people around you, and giving back in a way, right? They're paying you, they're supporting you in your business. So what can you do to turn around and support them?
I think
And this
too
is
a
funny.
lot of the problem. Sorry to interrupt, Kevin. I think a lot of
No,
the
you're good.
problem too is everybody tries to get rich off of one job. It's just like you know
Yeah.
to me that's not the point. To me, it's anyway.
No, no, exactly right. And again, you see those people that go out there and give ridiculous quotes, and the next person comes over and be like, no, like that. We don't have to do that. That's way too. That's out of way out of left field. And um, again, it's good to hear those stories that small business owners and people like you are out there and just like, look, integrity is more important. Doing the right thing, helping people out, and just knowing like, hey, I'll be taken care of. Whatever happens, it'll be okay. Um, but to put that above revenue and before profits says a whole lot about a small business owner to me than the amount of money that they just make or how long they've been open.
No, I say a lot of the funny things too is a lot of. I actually had a job up in Denver not too long ago, and his family had moved in. I think from I don't know, I can't remember where. Anyways, they had a little Frenchie bulldog. He was about a year old. Well, I had a Frenchie too that went with me everywhere, and this little sucker just followed me all over the place. just and I called him the boss. He was my supervisor. He'd come down the stairs. They had a basement flood, I believe, and of course he'd just stand at the top of the stairs and just watch you the whole time. And then you get up, and then he'd just be so excited. Just yeah, kind of subject on that one, but that I enjoy that about the customers, and two is also
Yeah.
meeting their pets or whatever. So
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense, man. And you get an insight to again, it goes back to you have the chance to connect with people and
like,
go into their homes and respect their homes, respect their livelihoods, right? And just help them out. Again, it's more than just repairing the damage that's there, but it's doing what you can to help them out, and that's a fantastic story and a great approach to any business that you own. So. And with that topic, we're talking about this before the recording. When it comes to giving back to the community and different things people can do, I mean, I love asking this question because there are so many different answers.
right,
Everything from the just giving to charities and nonprofits, which is great. I'm not trying to dog on that at all. But then you have other people that get really creative with what they do, and they go into like what they're passionate about, and they turn that into something through their business to give back to the community. So I love asking this question, man. Kind of walk us
sure.
through some of the things that you guys do, and how you give back to the community.
Yep. So most every Thanksgiving, I say most every Thanksgiving, probably every Thanksgiving, we'll cook 5 meals, and we'll either give them to vets or to homeless people or somebody that's in need, obviously, where that's what Thanksgiving's about is giving back. Even though you do run into some families are like, we don't need that, or take your crap and get out of here or whatever. But
Right.
you might see a mom and some children struggling or something. So
Yeah.
if we can help them just a little bit in that time, the families are always hard. I mean, the holidays are always hard for families. To me, uh, it's tough at times. You've lost loved ones or whatever the case is. And so,
Yeah.
like going back to earlier, if you can be a light to somebody in a time of darkness, then what better way? I mean,
Right.
there's we also are. I guess as we talked about a while ago with the Elizabeth Oktoberfest still coming up in Elizabeth, and setting up a booth there for it, and it's kind of a family oriented deal with free face paints and all kinds of craziness going on. So,
Right.
but we do things like that. We do like a clothes drive type thing. We'll have a closet full of clothes that you don't wear half the time. It's like, why do I got all this? Let's help somebody with it, or shoes, or coats, or Lord knows what it is, but just try to help somebody with it. They need it,
Yeah.
whatever. Here, take
Right.
it. Let me help you. I guess so.
Exactly.
We do some things like that, and then at our church, we usually have a fall fest and some other kind of events. We'll run a cotton candy machines and just some things like that. But
Yeah.
just try to help, try to give back a little bit. Be
And
kind
that's, I
is
mean,
the main thing.
it doesn't have to be overt, huge, grand gestures, right? It doesn't have to be, here's a check for
Right,
$10,000 on a huge, giant check with photo ops and look at me, right? And when you do things like just providing a meal to a family during the holidays that could really use it, I mean, you're not just giving them food that they need or, to be able to enjoy that day. You're giving them a memory, right? You're giving them hope. You're giving them,
right,
hey, there is good in this world. There are good people that I can rely on. And you don't know how that pays out forward, right? What they do
right.
with that act of kindness down the line. Um, and so again, it's so awesome to hear those stories and just little acts like something that is passionate to you. You recognize the need for it. You go out there and you help these people out. That's fantastic, man.
Yep. And going off of that too is with by doing that, we don't blast any of that on social media,
No,
or we just
no,
go do it. I mean, I don't need
right,
that recognition or whatever the case that you don't need that
right,
crap. Just
right.
help somebody out. I don't know. That's how I feel about
No,
it.
exactly. And to bring it up here, it's not you looking for recognition on it, but hopefully an inspiration to any other business owners sitting out there listening. I get that being a business owner, again, it goes back to you're so busy, you have so many things going on that it's easy to kind of forget about that part, right? I'll get to
Right.
that later. I'll deal with that later. But
Right.
to make time for it and to recognize that it doesn't have to be something big. I don't have to make this big gesture out of it just to go out there and do something and help one person today, or do one thing this week that gives back. It just it's great. It's great stories to hear, and very inspiring, I would think, to other people out there. So, um, let's move on to kind of getting more in the weeds of, how you operate your business. And we've talked about, one of the barriers or just things that you got to overcome to run a business properly is insurance. When it comes to employees or, just other paperwork and advertising, right? What are some of the other things that you're kind of going through and that you've seen that over the last 4 years you've maybe had to learn a lot about, or you maybe had to adjust how you're doing things over the course of the 4 years so far to get you to where you are?
Yep. So I run the business just by myself. I don't have anybody that works for me on, 24/7 call, basically that kind of thing. I've had a couple guys that work for me, but it's a little difficult, so to speak. I don't want to get into all that, but we can.
Sure, sure.
Uh, yeah, it's tough. You can't find people that want to work nowadays, and to me, on a job, I don't know. I grew up. We'll eat when we're done. I don't take a lunch.
Right.
I don't stop. I go, and plus, if I eat, I gotta have a nap.
Right.
I gotta take a nap.
Right.
But you, I don't really know how to answer that one, to be honest with you. So,
And that's fair. It doesn't need an answer.
okay,
I think the bigger implicate or the bigger thought there is for anybody listening, right? Because what the point that I like to get to through that question is making sure people aren't getting complacent and stagnant, right?
right, right,
And to recognize that as you go through your business, whether it's you're just starting or you've been doing it for a few years or a long time, there are things that need to be changed. And, times change, your clientele changes, all these things, right? So what do you do to keep your business adjusting over time? And I think that's the bigger thoughtful question that I like to throw out there, even if there's like you said, hey, right now, like that doesn't really apply to me, but it very well could in a year, 5 years, 10 years down the line. So,
yep. So I honestly I pray a lot and I rely on God and my faith. He'll always provide. I
yep.
fully believe that, and so I don't stress a lot about it. I mean, I
Sure.
will. I mean, but really, honestly, I know God's in control and God's got it. He'll provide no matter what
Yeah.
I'm doing, and I think I've learned too throughout the last few years. I always grew up in like a fast-paced environment, like
Hmm.
working at a feed yard and running, custom crews at feedlots. It's just go, 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 go. Where I've had to really adjust and slow down by doing this so I don't mess up or of course you're gonna mess up from time to time, but just
Right.
to slow down and look and see what's going on. Think about it for a minute because like I told you earlier, growing up in the cattle business my whole life, it's just second nature to me. So I could do it blindfolded with one arm tied behind my back.
Right.
Or this, I have to look at the situation a little bit and think, well, heck, we got to do it this way, not that way. And just take our time. Let's slow down, do it correct, not just try to go, 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 get out of there, type of scenario. And so I
Yeah.
think that's what I've had to really readjust by doing this
Sure.
from the way I've grew up and lived my whole life. And so I
Yeah.
don't know. That's kind of
No,
the
that's
answer I
fair.
got for that, maybe.
Well, because so many people take what they did before, or how they grew up, or just life lessons they've had up to that point, and it is good to apply that to your business, but there are some things like what you're saying that you have to like, hey, I can't be operating that way, right? In this
Right.
situation or this environment. And it's kind of scary for some people to take a step outside of their comfort zone. One, to even have the cognitive ability to recognize that, right? And then two, say I've got to
Oh,
adjust how I'm doing things to make this work.
and
So that, I mean, that's a
that's a crazy. Sorry to interrupt, Kevin.
yeah, you're
That's the
good.
crazy part too. Is I've had to readjust my whole lifestyle for and my wife is huge inspiration to me, and she helps me and she coaches. She's phenomenal. Where I've literally I grew up in Texas and lived there my whole life, and then you move to a big city, and it's like, good lord, these people are nuts. Like I grew up in a town
Yep.
of 400 people. There ain't a whole lot that goes on there. We don't even got a
Nope.
stoplight. Heck, you sit at a stoplight for too long, you're getting honked at, and good lord knows what. But you know how
Yeah.
it goes. And so it's been a
Yep.
huge change and a huge adjustment of going from that to this. And it's just like
Yeah.
it takes a strong mind and a strong will. But first of all, I'll give the credit to God. Second of all, my wife, because she helps me out a lot in that scenario. So she's a pretty good coach,
Yeah.
whether she
Well,
believes it
to
or
have
not. It really is.
well, and I think you hit on a point there of having a good support structure.
Yep,
Um, one of our previous guests, they talked about, being strong physically, mentally, spiritually, socially, right? And when you're not strong in those areas, or if you're weak in one, like it's going to impact you, right? And also ties into having that support structure, like you mentioned. So, people talking about having mentors, people they can go to, or just having a spouse that they can lean on and accept advice from, right? That's also something that just a lot of people
oh yes
are
sir.
at, right?
Yes
But
sir.
yeah,
she's
your spouses
she
know you better than you do.
definitely picks me up. Oh, she knows me better than I do. Heck,
Yep.
she finishes the sentences before I even say them. So
I love it. So I'm kind of curious. Also, kind of as you're sitting here, the 3-4 year mark, where are you looking for your business here to grow into? What are some of the things that goals you have in mind, or ways that you want to expand?
well, obviously, I set goals for everything, whether it's, whatever it is in life, I set goals for it. And so with the restoration and mitigation company that I have, I've got goals that I want to have my big old shop. I want to have a big old office. That's my goals in the next 5 years. And, if I accomplish it, great. If not, it'll happen one day. And so
Right.
my goal is to have that, to have an own shop, have a couple guys that work for you to help you out a little bit, take a little bit of the load off of you. But I don't want to get so big that it's just overwhelming. Like it's more of a pain in the butt than it is an enjoyment, because I enjoy what I do. Not that I like
Yeah.
tearing up people's houses, but I enjoy going, say cutting drywall and finding the mold or whatever it presents. I enjoy it, but I never want
Sure.
to get to a point where if I don't enjoy it, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Exactly.
not saying everything's going to be enjoyable in life, but
No. No.
once it gets to where you don't even want to get up, get at your cup of coffee, and get on the road to it, then it's probably time for a change.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think part of that ties into complacency over time. If
Yep,
you're just if nothing changes, if you don't do anything different, it can very easily become stale and get
absolutely.
you to the point. And then as a business owner, whether you have 0 employees or you have 20, 25, 30 employees, right? It's going to impact the entire business if as an owner get to that point of like, I just don't want to do this anymore, or I'm not
Yep.
feeling that this is mind numbing and I'm mad at it and annoyed at it. So you have to find ways to stay engaged and keep pushing forward.
Going back on that, and I could relate to the business I had in the cattle industries. I had 31 guys that worked for me.
Hmm.
Good night. You talk about a headache. Whether or not so and so's coming, or if the cat died and they ain't gonna show up, it was a pain in the butt. I did it for 10, 12 years, I think, 10 years, whatever it was. It was,
Yep.
you get up and you leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you get home at whatever time you get done and get home. But with that many people and that many crews going, it's nonstop. Like your phone never stops. It's like
Yeah.
you don't have a break, and it got more of what we just talked about. More stagnant, more of a just get through the day, get it done, complacent to where I'll always love cattle, but I got to where I just hated it. Just
Yeah.
absolutely hated it. It's time for a
Right.
change.
Yeah. And you never know, maybe someday you'll find your way back to that, right? If the
Right?
conditions are right, and but so it doesn't mean that you have to be done with it, right?
Right.
Take the lessons that you've learned from that, apply it to this new chapter of your life, and see where it takes you. So
Right. Exactly.
that's awesome, man. Well, before we start wrapping up here, I do want to kind of give you an opportunity, one, to share any advice you have for business owners, that lessons learned that you wish you had known when you started, but also give you a chance to, again, just let everybody know who you are, how to contact you, the services you provide, and all that good stuff.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll just start with like the social media side of it, since that's the big thing nowadays. Is we're on Facebook on Restoration Station Colorado. We've got Instagram, uh, and a website, of course, www.restorationstationcolorado.com. Uh, I don't know. As far as advice goes, I literally pray before I get to every job. That's what I do, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Things are going to happen. Things are going to get
Hmm.
heated. Customers are going to be a little bit stressed, and you are too. But learn to just take a deep breath and just understand what they're going through too. And just, like we've said in the show already today, be a light into their darkness. Be a comfort to them. And I promise you, it'll
Yeah.
probably head the way you want it to go.
Yeah. Amen, man. I love it. Great message. Great story. Sounds like you have a great attitude, and definitely just anybody listening, just use this as inspiration, and take it from there. So, um,
Awesome.
Ty, seriously, thank you for your time today, and being willing to come up here and talk and share your story, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Kevin, I appreciate you reaching out, and you're going to think I'm crazy for this, but I literally got goosebumps. So,
I love it, man.
pretty
Well,
neat.
you're
Pretty
talking
neat.
about Yeah, I know you're talking about social media. It's like that's how we got in contact, right?
It's
So
crazy. Yes,
you
sir.
never
Yes,
know.
sir. Yep.
Well, speaking of social media and this podcast, for anybody else out there, remember, this is an open invitation to any small business owner that would love to come up here, share their story, talk about their business, and get the word out. Free advertising, basically. We're not looking for anything back in return. This is a no strings attached offer. So feel free to reach out to us directly through Facebook or YouTube or through the comment sections, whatever it is, and we'll find a way to get in touch with you to schedule you being on a future episode of the podcast. Again, this is brought to you by Centennial State Insurance Agencies. So if you're looking for any kind of insurance, you want to give us a try and see the kind of customer service that we provide to you guys, you can give us a call at 303-838-0554, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you and see if there's anything we can provide. But that being said, we'll have another fantastic business owner on the next episode of Behind the Small Business. And until then, you all take care, and we will see you later.